Hi, my name is Dustin Petz, and I have the joy of serving as the president of the Kansas Methodist Foundation. I'm here seeking to share a video with you about how to use our new online fund portal so that you can get information about the fund that you have or can communicate with distributions that you're interested in. It's my joy to be here with Gloria Markus, our Director of Finance, and I'll ask Gloria if you'll introduce yourself just a bit, and then we'll begin.
Hello, my name is Gloria Markus. I've been with the foundation just over 19 years.
Awesome. If you ever need something from the foundation and you call, Gloria's one of the people who's been here a long time and knows a lot about the foundation and the different funds. I'm grateful for the opportunity to share. About a year ago, we began a process of changing our sub-accounting system, and the new program that we have gives us the ability to provide online access to our donors or partner investors. And if you ever go to our website, this is what it looks like, and you can get information with the different drop downs. There's also this new button that is up here about Access My Fund, and that's where we're going to go today. There's also a place where you can give now if that is something of interest. But if you click the Access My Fund, it's going to take you to a place to do a login. And if you have a donor advised fund, or if you are a authorized signer, a fund advisor for one of our church investment accounts or agency investment accounts, you're going to need to get logged in. And your login is the email address that we have on file for you. And you can go through the process of getting your password here. I already have mine. If you don't have a password, you're going to need to set that up. I'm going to just go ahead and use mine that I have in place here to give illustration for our meeting. If you ever have questions or you get locked out, you can call the office and we can help you get back in. My system knows my password, so I'm going to get onto it as Dustin Petz. And when you pop into this spot, you're going to find the different funds that are connected to you as a fund advisor. And let me just comment a few things here. I have a donor advised fund and I have a legacy fund, a permanent endowment fund for my spouse and I. I'm not really going to talk about those, but if you desire to set up those types of funds, please let us know. We have a Pathways for Discipleship that's unrestricted. And then we have this fund that I'm going to talk about today. But all your funds are going to be here in one location, and you can go into each of them. If for some reason it appears that you're not seeing one of the funds you need, but you believe you should have access to, you can let us know and we'll help you get connected. I'm going to go to this fund here. It's an actual fund that we have. We've changed its name to kind of to hide it, but so that we can use it as an illustration here. You can see on this fund that it has the current balance. It also has the spendable balance. And this is the money that is set up here based on a spending plan. And for this fund, it is a 4% of a 3-year rolling average. And so the system will automatically calculate what that spending amount is. And then this amount is available to be distributed for ministry with this fund. And then we can make different grants. If you have a fund that we've got set up a spendable process, it will calculate that. Maybe it's this 4% of a 3-year rolling average. We have some of our partner investors that have different amounts, and that will populate here. If people are not seeing this, Gloria, if they see this, this should populate here, right? When situation would this not populate some amount?
If there is no spendable balance, I think it would just show a blank dollar amount. The current balance will always be shown as the current as in our system.
And when you say current in our system, that would be like the most recent month end, or otherwise. It's not today's dollar amount as of 11 o'clock this morning, but it's the most recent one that's updated in our system.
Yes.
Okay, okay. And so if this is zero, it might be that there's not a spendable calculation that's in play, or it could be that they've already distributed those dollars available for that year. Would that be correct?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So over here on the left-hand side, we have fund summary, which is this page here that gives some big picture things, the current balance, the spendable balance. Um, if you have a donor advised fund, which is where the donor has agency to give direction, give fund charitable direction on this, it may not say a spendable balance, but the whole amount of the donor advised fund would be spendable. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So it's going to have that information. Here's the recent grants that have been made. This one happened to be granted within our facility and our ministries here. But if you had a scenario where the church has their own fund balance and it has a spendable amount, it may be simply we made distributions to that church, or we made distributions to some other, maybe to a university for a scholarship, or maybe to some other charitable organization that the church wanted to support. That would be all listed in this section. If you make deposits, you can come over here and find that there's been donations that have been made to it. This one has not taken receipt of new donations. This gift had been, and this fund had been in place for some time. It's going to list the different distributions that have gone out. This is, again, an internal fund that we have. You can go through and put in place making grants. And so one of those places is over here to create a grant request at the top right. So this probably happens if a church needs to pull out money, or if a donor advised fund needs to make a distribution to their church or other charitable cause. You can go through that process. Where can I find, Gloria, my, if you will, my statement balance, or my year-end statement?
That would be on the left-hand side under resources and documents. If you click there, if you have, if we auto generate statements and we email them to you, they would be listed here.
Okay.
But if you need to create a manual statement, you would click manual statement, and you have the ability to choose a specific date range. And so say if we send you an annual statement, but you need it to generate it more frequently, you can have the ability to create a more frequent statement here.
Okay. So I could do 9/1, or do 10/1, 10/1 of 2024 on that, right?
Yes.
And I set it for quarterly, and I just create it. I did that and put it into a PDF that downloaded into my my computer. So that's where it went. But I can go in there and find out my own information. Tell me what's under files or financials or investment report.
If you click on files, those are just any uploaded documents that we have on file. It could be an agreement, it could be the spending policy, maybe an obituary, any kind of documentation that we have to generate this fund on file.
Okay. And
Uh,
what are financials?
Financials are just kind of some of the activity. You have your balance sheet for a certain period of time, and you have your income statement.
Okay. So I pulled up the statement of position, the balance sheet. And so tell me what I'm seeing here.
You have all your investment assets. This fund is invested in our West Path Balance Fund. And then we have our fund balance, our spendable balance, and just some other account balances that make up our balance sheet.
Okay. So if we've got long-term or short-term gains or losses, or if there's been unrealized gains or losses, that's all included in that there. An investment report? What is that?
This is just some kind of activity of all of our investment asset. This fund is invested in our balanced fund. And so if it would have any buys or sales within the time period, that would show up on this report.
Okay. Okay. So let's pretend this is a fund and I'm the fund advisor. So I have agency to make distributions and I have $1,950 to spend. Um, the next step I would go, so I want to cause this money to get distributed. So I use the grant request.
Yes.
Okay. So walk me through my options here.
If we have if you have used the portal before and created a grant request from the portal, you would click previous grantee and it would populate all the ones that you have had a distribution request prior. And if you go back and if you have this is your first time making a grant request, you can click search grantee and this would populate any of them that are in our system. And so if you want to put the name of your church,
I'll just use the church across the street from our office. Okay. So if I search it, it's going to populate. Here's the church that is here in Hutchinson. Okay. And then I can create the request to go to them.
yes.
Okay. Okay. And if I don't have those things, let's say there's a new charitable organization that I care about that isn't in the system, that I need to use the manual.
Yes, if they are not in our system, use the manual option, and you would provide as much information that you can, which is starred.
Okay. You probably prefer us to give more information if possible, just so you can confirm they're a charitable 501c3 cause that we can send money to, but you don't have to get all those things filled out to make a distribution. So if I was a church and I had an investment here and I was the treasurer of the church and I could and I want to make a distribution. We put money and invest the money with the foundation, but I need to pull out $10,000. I could use this whole process, right?
Yes.
Okay. So even though it's coming to us, we could initiate this grant request. The word grant, it means the distribution of the funds, right? It's not that I'm still the investor, and this is just a means of getting the money out to us.
Yep, it is a distribution going to outside of the foundation or to outside of your fund. It could be an internal grant. It's instead of an out or an external grant, it just means money's is going out of that current fund that is displayed on your screen.
Okay, so that's going to happen for people who they're the fund advisor or authorized signer for all of our investment accounts, if you will, managed accounts where churches put money with us. This would also be applicable for donor advised funds where donors have agency to do that. If they are having problems, well, tell me what happens if I hit the grant, if I had said go with the grant request to pull out that $1,950 from this fund, what would happen after that?
You create your grant request to the recipient, and it would just kind of go into like a shopping cart balance. And so you can take your 1950 out of this fund and I need to if you're linked to additional funds, you can go back to that home page and click your a different fund and make that grant request from that fund, and it would go into a shopping cart, and you kind of you have the option to review it, make any edits, and then check out. And then once you submit it, the staff here at the foundation will receive a notification and we will process it, contact you if we have any additional questions, and you can actually see the process in our system it takes. On this screen where it has paid, this one's actually paid. If it had just been submitted, it would say submitted. If we in this different stages in our system would be submitted, approved, and then paid. And so you are able to track the status of your actual grant.
Cool. Can I go ahead and do one and just see what happens?
Absolutely. Let's try it.
Okay, so I'm going to come back here. So I came to previous grantee. So I'm going to make a grantee to this same. Okay, and I pop here and it pops up all my previous ones. So if it was Dustin's donor advised fund that I showed you earlier, it was going to populate all the ones I've used before, the places I've made distributions. So I'm going to hit this one, which is a fund here where we'll make distributions for our pathway grants. Those grants are due coming up, and then the board will decide on who is to receive those. I'd put in here any kind of description. So if it was like a scholarship, I maybe would say scholarship for the Petz child, for example, or whomever it would be. I wouldn't probably do it for Petz child because that wouldn't meet the requirements of the IRS, but I would make a distribution to information about that. I'd put in here the full amount, or I could put in less than the full amount. If I've got information for that, I could put that in there and then make other notes here. Is that right? What would be some of the things that go in these notes or descriptions?
Any certain, is it for a capital campaign? Is it for, do I need to split it out? Say if it's for a scholarship, $1,000 to Joe Smith, $950 to Sam Smith, any kind of more description that we need to relay on to the recipient. It would be helpful here.
Okay. And then I add it to my cart. In the event that I had enough money to distribute to multiple places, it would be it'd be listed out here. But these are all still in the cart. So they've not been caused to happen, right? And so in some sense, I can be shopping for multiple different funds or multiple charitable beneficiaries. I can go back and delete it, or oops, I put in too much. I need to edit it here. Okay. And then when I'm ready to check out, I'd go up to this card up here on the top right.
Let's click on your review grant request, that dark blue first, and see, you should be able to check out there. But let's review it one more time.
Okay.
Now we're going to submit it.
Okay, down here.
Yeah.
So now that has submitted my grant. I'm going to hit continue. Okay, so it's in the status of request, okay, for the full amount as of today's request date, right?
Right.
So if I go back to fund summary, it should say I have zero spending balance because the spending balance has already been distributed or put in place to distribute. It's not showing as paid because it's still in process. If I go to distribution request form, there it's showing up still. Okay. Very good. It seems pretty simple. I think the challenging things for people is if they're not seeing the funds that they think they should be seeing, it might be that they don't have authorization for that, or we need to update that on our side to give them access. They maybe forget their password. If I initiated this today, so let's pretend I'm the church and I'm making a request to my church for the $1,950 distribution to my church wherever I live. How long is it going to take until the money shows up in my account?
I would probably say no more than 10 days. We usually write checks on Thursdays of the week. And so if you get your grant request in by Thursday morning, we should be able to process it on Thursday. Sometimes holidays and timing of the month end and everything like that will shift it a little bit, but we try to stay consistent. And so no longer than 10 days should you have your funds.
Because the foundation will get this request and then we'll pull funds out of the investments because it was invested with Westpath in their stock and equity balanced fund. We'll pull the investments out. we'll get the money brought to the foundation, and then we'll write a check or ACH the money out to the recipient. If I want you to ACH the fund to my church, what do I need to put in place to do that?
We need to have the recipient's routing number, their bank account number, and whether it's a checking account or a savings account. We do have a form, a request form available on our website at kansasmethodistfoundation.org. It'd be under the resources, forms and resources, and download that document, complete it, send it back to us along with a voided check. So we have the bank account information on file. And if we have it on file, we would generally distribute it as an ACH. And if not, we would send you a check.
Okay. And so if I gave you that information, it might be populating here in this files document, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So it'd be here. I'd have confidence that you've got the right information, the money's going to the right bank account. And if I submitted this today, there's a good chance I would get the money by Friday, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Very good. I guess if anyone has problems, what would be other problems that you think people might have?
If you are an authorized signer and so you log in and you have your various account funds, but you're not seeing an account fund, we may not have you linked correctly, or we may not have you an authorized signer for that fund. If that's the case, if you want to contact a current authorized signer and let them know to update the update signer form with us, that's also available on our website. We can get you linked correctly.
That probably happens early in the year when we have a change in leadership in a church where someone had been an authorized signer but rotated off and a new person is coming.
If you have any additional questions or, forgot your password, we're always available by phone, 620-664-9623, or by email address, info@kansasmethodistfoundation.org.
This was super helpful. Thank you, Gloria. I hope that people will feel comfortable using this fund portal and be able to get information about your fund. If we send out an annual statement and you want something shorter or a different form, you can go on and have access to that. Sometimes we have partners who want to know a little bit more about what's happening with the funds, and this is a way to monitor that and make distributions. So thank you, Gloria. Any other words from you?
I don't have anything.
Thank you all so much. Hope you have a blessed day. Let us know how we can help you. Thank you. Bye-bye.